Good evening and thank you for joining us. An investigation is underway after a deadly mass shooting left 6 dead in western Mississippi. Gunfire erupted Friday night in downtown Leland. Police say the shooting happened shortly after Leland High School's homecoming football game ended. The shooting did not happen on school grounds. In addition to the 6 killed, a dozen more suffered injuries. Investigators say the victims range in age from 18 to 41. Federal agents are now on the ground to assist in the investigation.
The FBI's role here is to assist in this investigation. And so all resources that the FBI has to bear are being made available to this investigation, to the community, to the Leland Police Department, as we work to understand what happened and why it happened and how we can bring those people to justice.
The motive for the shooting is still unknown. But this shooting comes less than a week after a mass shooting at a club in Montgomery left 2 dead. An arrest has been made in that shooting. A juvenile is charged with capital murder and assault. The ongoing government shutdown will soon hit federal workers' paychecks. Roughly 1.4 million federal employees have been furloughed or are working without pay. The Trump administration starting layoffs on Friday and warning more will come. And the president said he had one group in mind to focus on.
And it'll be Democrat-oriented because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot, and we'll announce the numbers over the next couple of days, but it'll be a lot of people, all because of the Democrats.
It's also impacting air travel. The Federal Aviation Administration says 12 facilities that guide planes were short-staffed Friday. And President Trump says U.S. troops will be paid on time despite the government shutdown. The president has ordered the Defense Department to use all available funds to pay troops on October 15th. The move comes as the government shutdown enters its 11th day, now likely to stretch into a 3rd week. Trump said he took action because, quote, our brave troops will miss the paychecks they are rightfully due. About 1.3 million active duty members were at risk of missing pay. And food pantries in our area are now assisting federal workers impacted by the government shutdown. This week, Prodigy Pantry in Spanish Fort opened its doors to federal workers during its weekly distribution. A special distribution for Coast Guard members is scheduled for next week. Their executive director tells us it's time to serve those who serve our country. And Prodigy Pantry is asking for donations during this time, specifically diapers, wipes, and gift cards to purchase formula. Donations can be dropped off at Prodigy Pantry in Spanish Fort during business hours. Conservatives in Congress are considering nuking the Senate's filibuster to help end the shutdown. Still, Senate GOP leaders say that's a no-go. But Senator Bernie Moreno tells the Huffington Post ending the Senate rule, which requires 60 votes to end the shutdown, is an option. Fellow Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene agrees. It would require a simple majority vote to end the filibuster. The GOP does not have enough votes to end the rule, at least not yet.
First Warning Weather, sponsored by Pensacola State College.
Well, joining us now is our meteorologist, Marian Call. Well, Marian, fall is officially here.
Yeah, it's certainly feeling like it out there right now. Temperatures have fallen into the 60s and even some spots hanging out in the 50s.
Hazardous waste made safe. Today was Household Hazardous Waste Amnesty Day in Santa Rosa County. Residents were encouraged to bring items that are flammable, corrosive, poisonous, or toxic. And from a list of more than 20 materials, there was one item the county collected the most. Saturday morning, staff with Santa Rosa County making a way for residents to get rid of their waste.
Well, I'm cleaning out my garage, and I had some old chemicals and some used motor oil that I didn't know what to do with.
There's no landfill in the south end of Santa Rosa County. The nearest one is about 40 minutes away in Milton. The problem? Not all waste goes in the garbage.
Most of us don't know the proper way to dispose of a lot of things, and this keeps everyone safe, so we're not putting wrong things in the trash.
Trucks gathered at the Gulf Breeze Community Center for Household Hazardous Waste Amnesty Day. County workers collecting items like pesticides, gasoline, needles, and electronics.
We don't want those types of things to end up in the landfill.
Kelly Hobbs is an organizer of the Amnesty Day. She says hazardous materials in the landfill could contaminate drinking water. Along with hazardous waste, the county also accepted tires, 10 per county resident. Staff counted 190 tires, filling up an entire trailer. Officials say that's more than ever before.
Some of these tires are fairly new. They're sitting in people's garage for 10 years. and they decide to throw them away.
Jeff Philippi is the head mechanic at the Santa Rosa County landfill. He says these collection days help not only the residents, but also the environment.
It stops the mosquito population. It really does. Some people don't realize that.
Philippi says an Alabama-based company will remove the tires from the landfill. South End locals say they're happy to clear out their waste a little closer to home.
I feel like I'm doing the right environmental thing by coming down here and giving it to y'all.
The county collects hazardous materials Monday through Saturday at the Central Landfill in Milton, but for a fee. Officials host these amnesty events twice each year in the south end of the county. The next is expected to happen in March. Tragedy in Tennessee. Officials give a grim update after Friday's plant explosion. Law enforcement officials in Tennessee say they've identified all 16 people killed in a blast at an explosives plant about an hour outside of Nashville. Officials say that all families have been informed. They also clarified that they believed 18 people were missing earlier today based on personal belongings found at the plant. The 2 other people were located off-site. Officials also add there is a danger as they continue to shift the debris.
We found out this morning some changes in the safety protocol and what we're having to deal with, and it's like we were already going slow, and now we're slowing things down even more, just for safety for everybody.
Through the explosion site and trying to figure out what sparked the blast. U.S. troops are in the Middle East, how they're involved in the next stage of the Israel-Hamas peace deal after the break. U.S. troops are now in Israel to monitor the fragile ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. In Gaza, Palestinians are returning to their homes, most of which have been destroyed by the 2-year war. And while in Israel, families of the hostages are waiting for their release. Here's ABC's Perry Russum with the latest. Turning Point USA says it's hosting an alternate halftime show during next year's Super Bowl. The conservative nonprofit announced the All-American Halftime Show, a separate event from the NFL's official performance by Grammy winner Bad Bunny. Turning Point USA says the lineup will be announced soon. Bad Bunny has faced criticism from some NFL fans. The artist has voiced concerns about ICE activity in Puerto Rico, saying he delayed U.S. tour dates over fears fans could be detained. And former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton is expected to be charged with federal crimes. That's according to reports from MSNBC. The network spoke with 2 federal officials. They say the charges would come from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland, where Bolton lives. The FBI searched his home and D.C. office in August as part of a national security investigation into classified records. Bolton's attorney said his client handled materials properly. President Trump previously called for Bolton's prosecution over his 2020 book detailing his time in the first Trump administration. And President Trump is threatening new tariffs on China. In a post on Truth Social, Trump announced the U.S. will impose an additional 100% tax on Chinese imports. He says they'll be implemented starting November 1st or sooner, depending on any further actions from China. Trump adds export controls on any and all critical software will also begin November 1st. He accuses Beijing of taking an aggressive position on trade amid a dispute over export controls placed on rare earths.
This is not something that I, instigated. This was just a response to something that they did. And they didn't really aim it at us. They aimed it at the whole world. The whole world is subject to it. So I thought it was very, very bad.
President Trump was expected to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping later this month as part of his trip to South Korea. He suggested he's no longer sure the two will meet, though he notes nothing has been canceled. And former President Joe Biden is beginning a new phase of cancer treatment. His office says he's receiving radiation and hormone therapy for an aggressive form of prostate cancer diagnosed in May. Biden, 82, recently had surgery for skin cancer. In a post after his diagnosis, Biden thanked supporters, saying, quote, "Cancer touches us all. We are strongest in the broken places." Oscar-winning actress Diane Keaton has died at 79. People magazine reports she's passed away in California, surrounded by loved ones. Keaton's career spanned decades with iconic roles in The Annie Hall, The Godfather, and Father of the Bride. She won an Oscar for Annie Hall and was nominated 3 more times. Keaton got her start on Broadway and went on to work with directors like Francis Ford Coppola, Woody Allen, and Nancy Meyers. No additional details on her death have been released. It was fun, food, and dancing in Pensacola today. We have highlights from the Festa Italiana.